right, studio time check says it's 34 minutes past 6 a.m. Happy new month. Today is the first day in May of 2025, the fifth month of the year. This is Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your number one family radio in the whole of your state. My name is Bolanle Udweku Ayola, and I welcome you to a morning of wholesome goodness, wholesome programs coming your way on this station today. If you're new, I say welcome, and I want to assure you that you're going to have a very amazing time. If this is not your first time of listening, I say welcome as well, and thank you so much for always staying with us, for your loyalty. It means a lot to us right here at Wells Radio 89.3 FM. And to take that a step further, kindly follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X at Wells Radio 893 FM. That's Wells Radio 893 FM. Now go one step further and follow us on our Facebook fan page, created specially for you, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. I'll take that again, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. And go one more step further and follow us on YouTube. Yes, we're currently streaming on YouTube, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. You see, the beauty of the YouTube page is that you get to watch us in real time. Okay, so you can watch us wherever you are. You don't have to be in Ibadan. You can watch us in real time. So just go to YouTube and search Wells Radio 89.3 FM, and you'll be able to watch us. Don't just watch. Leave your comments in the live chat. All right, once again, my name is Bolanle Udweku Ayola. The program this morning is Perspectives Unlimited, and we'll be taking a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria. Happy Workers' Day to every single one of us. I'm also, worker. Happy Workers' Day to us, and whatever that means in Nigeria of today. Let's take a look at the front pages. The Punch newspaper lead headline says, Mayday push. Labour demands wage review to ease cost of living crisis. NAS to address workers' concerns. Labour rejects 70k pay over rising inflation and others. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. More headlines. CBEX resumes operations despite SEC ban. 1.2 trillion naira EFCC probe. Promoters say audit ongoing. NFIU flags EWC, TOFRO, other Ponzi schemes. That's on page 31. Can we really say CBEX has resumed operations if people are not able to get their money? More headlines. 3 judges suspended as NJC voids Imo acting CJ's appointment. That's on page 40. Wike fires back at Atiku, Daily Momodu over zoning comment. That story is on page 40 of the Punch newspaper. Tinubu, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Atiku pay tribute to Adebanjo. That's on page 43. Afrima 2025, Lagos ready to host Africa, says Sanwo-Olu. That's on page 5. And finally, UK speaks on Britain arrested in Nigeria for arms deal. That story is also on page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's take a look at the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, where the lead headline says, top Nigerian leaders set to host a national political summit. Issues relating to constitutional democracy to be discussed. Anyoko to inaugurate Awolowo, Dosumu, Tambuwal, Daniel, Fayemi, others as convening committee members today. That's on page 6. Macban, MBF disagree over visit to U.S. ambassador. That story is on page 3. Appeal court upholds conviction of Professor Ogman for electoral fraud. That's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. More headlines. Akwa Ibom governor speaks in parables. Suggests he may be leaving PDP. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. CBEX, EFCC declares foreigner wanted. That's on page 23. ACF says North too strategic to be ignored. That's on page 28. Court orders EFCC to release Achimogu, and that's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. On the Daily Trust newspaper, 2027, ACF gives conditions for not support. That's on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, continued on pages 3 and 4. More headlines. Bank customers to pay 6 naira on every SMS transaction alert from today. That's on page 17. Plateau traders lose 1 billion naira to midnight inferno. That's also on the Daily Trust newspaper. North Central governors mull joint security operations. That's also on the Daily Trust. More headlines. May Day, 70,000 naira minimum wage, not enough. Workers, that's on page 5. More headlines. How swindlers preyed on miracle seekers at Kano Holy Sites, that's on page 30. Kidnappers chop off victims' hands, shun ransom, that's on page 25. And finally, 4 years after, police resume vehicles tinted glass permit issuance. That's also on the Daily Trust newspaper, page 14. This morning. These and many more are some of the headlines we're going to talk about on the show. But of course, before we get to talking, I have to bring our analyst on the show, Mr. Alli. Good morning, sir.
Morning, madam.
Happy New Month.
Same to you, madam.
And Happy Workers' Day.
Well.
How do you feel being wished Happy Workers' Day?
There is nothing to enjoy as a worker in this country today because the minimum wage is nothing to write home about. Purchasing power keeps going down every day. And for people who are actually civil servants, I'm not sure no time has ever been worse. I can tell you free of charge that some states are yet to implement the so-called consequential adjustment. And for many that have done, it's just an increase of 5 to 10%, 10,000 naira. What exactly do you want to do with that in Nigeria today? I mean, your take-home at the end of the month is around 40,000 naira. What exactly do you want to do with 40,000 naira in today's Nigeria?
Now, very good. Because you moved on to the path I want us to talk about, the minimum wage. Now, to the average regular outsider, when we heard that the government had signed, the president had signed the minimum wage, 70,000 naira, what was on the mind of everyone was that, okay, that means that in the civil service, if you're on the lowest level, you're going to be earning 70,000 naira. I don't know what the lowest level is, but let's assume level 1. So level 1 being maybe office assistants or cleaners or,
Well, practically it's around level 4. It starts from level 4.
It starts from level 4. So we'll say level 4 officers. Our mindset was that level 4 officers would earn
80.
at least 70,000 naira, since it was 70,000 naira that was signed. Now, I want to read this. This is from a popular Instagram site that posts about issues happening in Ibadan. Someone sent this in. This is What's Up Ibadan. And someone sent this in a couple of days ago. Because I would like you to, help explain it to the average person listening. He says he's one of the ad hoc staff currently working with the Oyo State Board of Internal Revenue. And he said they've been working there for over a year now. And they were informed that the governor, Seyi Makinde, approved the payment of the new minimum wage, which he did sometime this year. That's 80,000 naira. Now, he said, unfortunately, they are still being paid 30,000 naira. And after tax deductions, it comes down to 29,486 naira. There's so much more here, but because he's saying that it's a rumor, I'm not going to talk about it. But this is just the base of the story. So, how does a member of staff of the government, an ad hoc staff, still earn 30,000 naira when the governor says the minimum wage is 80,000 naira?
Well, the truth of the matter is that most of our political office holders are liars. That's just the truth of the matter. They are plain and stark liars. They tell you A when in reality it is Z. Like I said earlier, a lot of them have not implemented it. They only implemented it on the pages of our dailies. In reality, a lot of people are still collecting what they used to collect. I can even go a step further by telling you that federal civil servants actually got a reduction in their salary.
Reduction?
Yes. I mean, some people to the tune of 100, 150, 200 compared to what they used to collect. and the toothless.
Is there a reason for that? Did you hear
They said
of any memo?
no, initially, I mean, okay. They said the president signed it in July last year.
Okay.
That was 27th or thereabouts. Okay, they said they were doing consequential adjustment for July and August. That civil servants should wait until at least September before getting the new minimum wage. September, they paid something that was clearly different from, in an upward manner.
Okay, so there was an obvious increase.
Yes, that was for the month of September from what we heard. October, November, December, those 3 months were different because they said they were paying backlog.
Yes.
So there was an obvious increase. But for the month of September, there was no backlog. According to them, it was what civil servants would now start to receive. But January again, it went back. For some people, even further down than what they were
receiving
before the minimum wage. It is laughable, but it's not a joking matter.
In all of this, the NLC.
And I should tell you that for the federal government and state government, their income has increased by at least 3 folds, if not 4 folds.
Understandably.
And yet, what they are paying civil servants is further going down. Nothing describes that more than callousness.
Now,
it's beyond wickedness, callousness.
The Nigeria Labour Congress, the same set of people, at least the leaders of the NLC, who were at the Aso Rock to see the president on this matter and ended by singing for the president. And then came out to tell us that, the president has accepted the 70,000.
They even said that we should hail them.
Yeah,
before they went into the meeting with the president, they said anything short of 200 that they were not going to sign it.
But don't forget also, Mr. Sani, if you quite remember that around the time where everyone was, wondering what the price would be, how much would it be? People said, you need to avoid having a number that's so high to avoid, spoiling the currency any further. I'm not sure that's the right word, but to avoid devaluing the currency. And many were of the opinion that that's one of the reasons why they are great. Now, in all of this that is happening, the NLC, what exactly have you heard that the NLC is doing other than this speech they are making?
Let me correct a faulty notion there. A lot of people are saying, situation of the countries like this, the situation of things in a country is like this because civil servants started to collect 70,000 naira. I can tell you that the minimum wage, number one, is not 70,000. It's not even anything close to 70,000. That's that. Number two, $1 to naira was going for 1,700, 1,800, 1,900 before the so-called minimum wage. Now it's around 1,600. So 70,000 naira is not the reason why we are where we are. Before they started paying the so-called minimum wage, fuel was going for 1 plus 900. Now it's 890, 900. So, there is nothing on the negative side whatsoever that the so-called minimum wage has brought upon Nigerians. Look at the price index. Food stuff. Rice was going for 120 then.
It has come down.
It has come down. Beans was going for 6,000 then. Now it's between 2,500 and 3,000 naira.
If all of this is better, what exactly is the issue?
The truth of the matter is that the purchasing power is low. That's 70K. Let's even assume, for the sake of this conversation, that it's 70K. What exactly can 70K do for you in a month? You are married, you have 2 kids. What exactly will 70K get you in that month? That's the point. Like I have been saying, I'm not of the opinion that we should be doing up to 70,000 naira. That's the truth of the matter. What I am talking about is let's have a stable naira that can get things done. I remember that with 9,000 naira, I used to fuel my car. Now it's around 70K. That's exactly where the problem lies. Let's put some strength in the naira and nobody's going to complain anymore.
All right, thank you so much for that, sir. If you're just joining us, you're very welcome. You've come at a good time. It's Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State. We're talking about stories, headlines rather, making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria this morning. And it's May Day. Now, the NLC, the TUC, and so many bodies, the basic thing that the government owes at this point that it has signed is the minimum wage. And what we're hearing is not, apparently everyone's not, we're not even talking about the private sector yet. Everyone is not, exactly earning the minimum wage. What should be what steps should the NLC take?
There are a lot of options for them. Number one is that you speak out. Oh, the whole world, this is exactly what is happening. And these people actually swindled us. They told us they would start paying a minimum of 70K. Now they are doing something much lower than that. But that is what you and I can do as well. However, they have the instrument of coercion, which is their ability to down tools. I cannot wake up one day and say, okay, assuming I was a civil servant, I cannot wake up one day and say,
you're not going
I want
work.
to declare strike. No, I can't do that. But the labor union that actually collects dues from civil servants to do their job have the power to do that. The NLC can do that. The TUC can do that. The two of them combined can do that. I mean, and if for any reason one can go alone, if it comes to that. But sadly, these guys are not looking in that direction. I am not a fan of the TUC. Festus Osifo, as far as I'm concerned, is a tricky politician. He hardly would you see him come against the government. He is always in support of the government. And not that I trust Ajaero, but Ajaero in the past said, okay, let's go on strike. It was Osifo was saying, no, let's not go on strike. Let's not go on strike.
But we've not heard today's.
But now
we've not heard anything from the NLC president.
Officially,
yet.
They have not said anything. But I understand that they are lamenting. They are asking for an upward review. Like that's what's going to help them. Before talking about an upward review, ensure that they are paying what you signed for. If you can get that, then you now sit down and analyze it. What exactly is it getting you? If your lot is better, maybe you stick with it. If it's not better, you now say, okay, how do we make this thing? I do not support driving the minimum wage further upward because it's going to put a lot of private entrepreneurs in a state of disadvantage. That's that. And what is even the assurance that the government will pay? So the first thing to do is to make sure that they are paying what you guys agreed that they would pay and further find a way to drive down the rate of inflation, because that is exactly where the problem lies. That is why people do not have money in their pocket. Let's just assume now that your minimum wage is 50K and the bag of rice is 10K. You still have 40K to buy other food items and things you need. But let's now say that, okay, minimum wage is 70K, a bag of rice is 80K. What exactly is the function? What exactly do you want to do with the 70K that cannot get you even a bag of rice? That is what some of us have been preaching.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I want us to quickly talk about 2027, obviously just because it's in the dailies. And the headline...
I'm not even sure there's any topic that is bigger than that. For me personally, no topic, no headline is bigger than that.
Okay, so let's get to it. Now, the headline on the Daily Trust newspaper, it's on several dailies, so we'll start from the Daily Trust. It says 2027, ACF gives conditions for North's support. The Ariwa Consultative Forum, Northern Nigeria's foremost social-cultural organization, has declared that the North will only support candidates in the 2027 general elections who are committed to protecting and promoting the region's interests. This was disclosed on Wednesday by Alhaji Bashir Dalhatu, chairman of the forum's board of trustees, at the start of the board's meeting in Kaduna. And apparently the meeting was convened to address critical issues affecting the region and the nation at large. We had in attendance the former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, former governor of Kaduna State, Ramalan Yero, former governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, and former governor of Kaduna, Ahmed McCarthy. Also had the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, retired Army spokesman, Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachi Lawal, and former political advisor to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, among others. These names are names that have popped up with, how do we call it? Babachi Lawal, for example.
Forces.
Yes. And we're seeing that it looks as though the North is not happy with what is going on right now, despite the fact that they have someone in the government, which is the vice president. Why is the North not happy, seemingly?
I can tell you free of charge that whatever they are talking about in that meeting is not something to benefit a lot of the average suya seller on the street of Kano. That's the truth of the matter. These are people who are not getting what they personally would have wanted to get from the government. I'm not making a case for the Bola Ahmed administration. No, never. But
so it's not in the interest of the Northerners, the average Northerner.
They said, I don't like to discuss ethnic politics. Afenifere or Hanis, ACF, all of them, I always rush MBF. To drop them into the dustbin because that is where they belong in my personal life. But we need to look at what they are talking about. They said that the North is not doing well today. Yes, the North is not doing well today, but is there any part of the country that is doing well? Buhari was there for 8 years. The ACF didn't say anything then. It was the Afenifere then that was shouting and screaming. All of a sudden, the Afenifere too has developed sore throat. They can't speak out loudly like they used to speak under Muhammadu Buhari. See, the truth of the matter is that these interest groups are only there to protect their personal interests and not the interest of the average Nigerian, or not even the interest of the people they claim to represent. That is it. For me, there is insecurity in Nigeria. It is more prominent in the north, but it is everywhere you go, like that telecom network. But the truth of the matter is that these people are trying to now politicize it and blow it out of proportion as if they even care.
That's given the fact that the state of insecurity in the north has been worse. Has seen worse days.
Yes. During the Goodluck Jonathan days, they were screaming and shouting.
Every day there was always kidnapping.
They were screaming and shouting. Muhammadu Buhari days, it was the same. People were being killed, people were being kidnapped. But the ACF didn't say much then. Now we have a Yoruba president, and all of a sudden they have started screaming again, oh, the North is not doing well, the North. I'm not really interested in all sorts of in things like that. For me, let's discuss where we were, where we are, and where we need to be. As far as I'm concerned, I have made up my mind that there are only two politicians that I will not be considering come 2027 to replace should the present president leave 100%? But should he leave because a section of people are saying he must leave because he's not benefiting them? No. But I still believe that he should leave. And I have come to a conclusion that there are just two politicians that are not on the table as far as I'm concerned when it comes to replacing the present administration come 2027. Number one, Nyesom is in Warwike. I will never vote for him. The second person is Nasser El-Rufai. Another person, let's see how it goes.
All right, 2027 is just around the corner, and it may be it may be the year that will further pen down our future as Nigerians, as we've seen from the previous election.
The truth of the matter is that, without due respect to people who may not share this opinion, but the election day is the most important day in any 4-year cycle. Because it's going to determine how your next 4 years will be, and not just the next 4 years, beyond. I
Of
can
course.
tell you that there are some things that we are still dealing with that if Goodluck Jonathan had handled very well, we won't be dealing with those issues anymore. And Jonathan left office 10 years ago. There are some things that Buhari created that we are still dealing with. And I can tell you free of charge again that there are some things that Tinubu is doing right now that we will deal with for at least 15, 20 years. So if you want to have a easy, immediate, near future and a long-term future, please take election days very, very seriously.
And much more than election day, please take one very seriously. We had this issue during the last election where some people were disenfranchised, not because they didn't have their voters card, but probably just because, number one, they didn't know their rights and they didn't demand for their rights,
And beyond coming out to vote, like you rightly said, something could be worse than not voting. And that is not being enlightened enough on how and who to vote for. That is it. A lot of people vote here for a lot of wrong reasons. Oh, we worship God the same way, or we are from the same ethnic base.
No, let's talk about those who vote because someone is giving 5,000 and someone is giving 10,000.
Of course, I'm coming there. I'm struggling to understand which is worse between voting for pecuniary reasons or ethnic or religious reasons. All three of them are, as far as I'm concerned, a civilian coup against the country, because you are installing a government you know too well may not be capable, but you just want to install that government for silly reasons. I mean, that's not the best way to handle your country. Vote your country. Vote people you know too well that are going to take your country forward for the sake of taking your country forward, not because you expect them to give you 5, 10, 15, 20K at the end of the exercise, or because, I just say mosque economy, I just say church economy. That is not going to help you at the end of the day. Vote outside of your ethnic base, simply because you believe that the person being presented from the other side of the country is better. I have always said it. I'm from Osun State. There are people who have ruled Osun. I wouldn't say people who have led Osun. People who have ruled Osun that I can never vote for. That, I mean, as bad as Buhari was, I would pick Buhari before picking Aribeshola.
Okay, let's not go there. All right, the studio lines are open and you can be a part of this wonderful conversation this morning. All you have to do is to call the studio lines and be a part of the show. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. I'll take the numbers again. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. Also drop your comments on our live chat on YouTube, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Drop it as well on our Facebook fan page, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page.
I mean, you may not like this, but I should say it again. If I have to choose between Peter Obi and Sheyi Makinde, I'll choose Peter Obi. And the reason for that is that you need to be very, very wary of somebody who can set his father's house alight. This guy, alongside with G5 governors, actually burnt down their father's house. I won't take someone like that very seriously.
Well, that's your personal opinion. Let's take this call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, ma.
Good morning to you, sir. Your name and
Happy
where you're
Workers' Day.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Happy New Month. Hello, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Oh, okay. Please call us back. I hate to believe that the network is bad on the first day of the month. Their network providers. How do you want us to call our families and friends to wish them Happy New Month and Happy Workers' Day? 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. That's 0915-333-4893. These are the numbers to call. Let's take this call. I think he's calling back. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hello?
Oh, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us? Okay, that's a bit...
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me
Hello?
now? Uh-oh. That's a bit strange.
And
Do call us back. Our engineers will definitely look at this. And we'll take a short break just to ensure that your calls can get in properly. We'll take a short break, okay? Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a jiffy. Please stay with us.
Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die.
89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Tired of listening to the same old content? Tune in to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the only radio other radio stations listen to.
Not just another radio station. Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Broadcasting from Ibadan or your state brings you wholesome programs for you and your family. All right, let's take this call quickly. Hello, good morning. Hello.
hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you
Oh,
now.
that's
It's
wonderful.
better now.
All right, thank you so
All
much.
right. Good morning, Wells FM. This is Salami calling from Awoton.
What's your name again, sir? Mr. Salami.
Salami.
All right.
Salami. Yes, calling from Awoton.
Okay, please go ahead.
All right, madam. Thank you very much. Happy Workers' Day.
Same to you.
You see, my take this morning on the entire situation we are facing in this country is in form of an appeal. My appeal goes to the elite. If you truly desire true change, honestly speaking, this is the time. You know, there cannot be any other time than now for us to wake up. Actually, I'm appealing to my appeal goes to the elite class like us. Please let us sacrifice, because I can say that we're part of the problems facing this country now. Honestly, we created it, inadvertently though, because as a result of our refusal to vote during the election. And just as you have said, voter education is very important. Voter education is on the part of the literate. We, the elite, our own is worse, because on the days of election, that's when we remember a program on CNN, another specific. So sorry for mentioning the name now. Please let us go out and vote. We know who to vote for. Everybody, we have seen it all. The type of enthusiasm with which we voted in 2015, out of desire to send Jonathan all away by all means, when people came from Abuja, this and that, came to Ibadan from Abuja, everybody returned home. Abuja was empty. Let us deploy the same strength in 2027 to vote. Honestly, I can assure you, Ma, that since 1999, I've never missed any election. Honestly, even if I have to trek 95 kilometers, I have done it. And I'm appealing to the elite class, my professors, my doctors, my bankers, everybody, please let us go out and vote. It's our duty. It's our civic duty to our country. We must do it. If we don't do it, we will continue, meeting around the same cycle and be complaining. It will not help this country. It will not help our children, the unborn generation. We need to put this country on the straight path, on the right path, and we need good leaders to do that for us. Thank you, Wilson, and God bless you, ma.
God bless you, Mr. Salami. Thank you so much, and Happy New Month. You can follow Mr. Salami's footprints and call us this morning, 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. In the same vein, I'd also say that Wells Radio is a family-oriented radio where we basically, have programs that support the family and would like you, if you're out there, you have a product or you have a service that is reaching out to families of course, every single member of the family. So we have different people in the family. You can reach out to us and advertise with us, and I can assure you that you will not regret it. You can reach out to us via our email address, realwellsradio@gmail.com. You can also send us a text or a WhatsApp message to 0915 4999 893. Okay, so let's take this call. Hello. Okay. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, West Radio.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is George. I'm calling you from Odogwe.
Welcome, Mr. George, and Happy New Month.
Happy New Month to you people.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the good work you are doing for us.
Thank you, sir.
You see, I just love the appeal made by the first caller today. And I want to add here again that if we all come out to vote, this idea of some people saying that someone must complete his 8 years, is that part of the arrangement before they came to the office, that the person who wins election for a term of 4 years must do 8 years? Because this is the reason why these people migrating from one party to the other. That is the main reason why most of them are running there, because they feel that there's nothing stopping the present president having another 4 years. That is the main reason. Is that part of the arrangement? Because we really do not want this thing to continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. George, for your contribution this morning. Now, quickly, before we go into other topics, because there are other things to talk about, we're talking about, everyone coming down to vote, which is important. We're talking about voter education, which is equally important. But Mr. Sani, I want to point your attention to something that happened during the last election. People, at least in Lagos State, people were barred from voting. This is something we saw in video. People were stopped from voting because by thugs, because allegedly you look like you are from another tribe, so don't vote here. Go to your village and vote. Would we say that these people have made themselves available to vote? They know their rights constitutionally, because some of them even tried to say, oh no, this and that. But of course, in the face of harm, in the face of, there was a woman who was actually harmed, and yes. So in the face of that, obviously you'd want to move back a bit. That's the point. So
well, I should also quickly add that the lady that was brutally harmed later came back to vote.
She did. But those are the ones that made it to.
But the truth of the matter is this: it tells you again that your vote counts. Because if your vote doesn't count, they won't take up arms in the names of cutlasses and cudgels to prevent you from voting. When things are like this, I am not a fan of violence, and I never preach violence. But how about going en masse to the polling unit at the same time? You choose yourself in your locality. That is the polling booth. Can we go there at once? Maybe like we arrange a pack of 50 to go there at once. It's going to be difficult for these people to come and attack you if they know that you are up to 50, because they never can tell what you guys are holding. Nothing will make me stop voting. I have been voting since 1999. I plan to do so till I leave this world. Nobody, even with an atomic bomb, I will still come out to vote. And, well, I have not faced such scenarios before, but I am not sure such scenarios can make me change my mind, because I understand too well that these people are trying to rob me of a decent future. That is why they are trying every possible means to make sure that I do not come out to vote. There is something beneficial to me that they don't want me to get, and that is why they are saying, go home, don't vote here. In all seriousness, I'm not a quitter. yes, I will make sure I do everything I can to vote. And I'm urging people. I mean, I like the topic you have brought, that they prevented some people, they tried to prevent some people from voting. What I want the people to get out of that is that their vote counts. And that if it was otherwise, they wouldn't bother themselves. Oh, let them go and vote, you already know. But I mean, people have this faulty notion that, oh, one team and two Mali, they already know who is going to win the election at the end of the day. But if that's the case, would they be chasing you around, trying to prevent you from voting?
Or trying to get you to get some money.
Get somebody who has, instead of paying you 70,000 for 4 years, has been paying you 29,600. But on the day of election, you turn to a magical Father Christmas and he begins to give you money. He only wants to buy your common sense for that particular day. And if you lose it for 4 years.
All right. So these are some of the matters that need to come to, limelight, so that people know that your vote counts. And when it comes to that time to perform your civic responsibility, you should. This is also a call to the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure that as people come out, as they brave all of this, sometimes life-threatening situations, to come and perform their civic duties, right. INEC should also ensure that it's doing its duty properly.
INEC is doing two things right now. I am all in favor of one, not in favor of the other at all. One is that they are trying to, it's late already, so they are rushing. I believe it's deliberate, but we need to see clearly and sift through each and every page before we approve the upcoming electoral act. They are saying that they want to remove the power to appoint INEC commissioners from the office of the president. I am in total support of that. The other thing is that they are talking about diaspora voting. I am not in favor of that.
Why?
The reason is that technology is too nascent. It's still young here. And apart from the fact that it is young, the almighty Google, almighty Microsoft, it is suffer network failure. And you never can tell what's going to happen within a second. Votes from nowhere can be lumped in, and before you know what is happening, you begin to get 6 million votes from Benin Republic, 24 million votes from Indonesia. And they tell you, oh, do you know about Nigerians in Indonesia? Have you been there before? Oh, there's a street called Nigerian Street. I mean, all sorts of nonsense. So I'm not in support of that. I understand the psyche of our politicians. They understand too that outside of politics, they can't function. So they will do everything they can to perpetuate their stay in office. And I wouldn't want to take any gamble with such a person, because for them, it's do or die.
All right, let's move on this morning. But you can continue to call us. Let's have your perspectives on these issues. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. Now, there was a blast in the military barracks in Borno, yes. And now there are two conflicting reports. The Borno State Fire Service clarified that the fire outbreak that led to the explosion at the armory in Giwa Barracks in Maiduguri, the state capital, may have been triggered by the extreme heat in the state.
I mean, it did not go off 1 p.m. yesterday. It was 12 a.m. in the middle of the night.
Let's take this call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
You're welcome, Mr. Mario. We can barely hear you. It seems that your location is there's an echo there. Hello? Okay. Please call us back. There's a bit of an echo in that location. So, quickly.
Excessive heat and...
Yes. So, they are even saying that the fire actually started at 10:30 p.m.
Okay.
And then it affected the ammunition facility within the barracks. And so some of the munitions, exploded and caused loud bang. On the other hand, ISWAP has claimed responsibility.
See, let's call it spade a spade. This is what I don't like about Nigeria. Something is going to be very, very blatantly clear to you, and you say, oh, I still can't see it very clearly. A lot of us are not paying much attention to what is happening in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa because the invaders have not crossed the ethnic or the religious line.
Let's take this go. Hello.
Good morning. Is it clear?
Okay, yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Happy New Month, Mr. Mario.
Thank you very much. Now, happy Workers' Day to all workers in the country. And first and foremost, before I start, I want to ask that the only profession in this country who barely celebrate Workers' Day are journalists. Because journalists, you always see them in their stations working all day. And I want to use this medium to appeal to our government to ensure that journalists across the country are well remunerated, because they barely enjoy holidays like we workers always do. Unlike today, they ought to be in their various with their families, but they are on their job, so they are at their station. And I'm using this medium to pray for all journalists across the country that the good Lord shall supply our needs in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Now, I as well want to appeal to government to ensure that the workers' priority in their various states to be their most priority. Workers' contribution to nations and national development cannot be overemphasized. Without the workers, there's nothing that the government of the day could do, both at the local government, the state, and the federal government. So let government prioritize the welfare of their various workers. And in lieu of that, I want to indulge the government to review the 70,000 naira minimum wage being paid to workers. Some governors in the state have not been paying the 70,000 naira as we speak. Even some said they don't have the wherewithal to pay, despite the fact that the allocation they are receiving on a monthly basis is has risen drastically. So let government look into that and let the minimum wage be reviewed. And it's not only the wage that should be reviewed. Let the government as well, because if they are talking about workers, how about those that are not working for the government? Let government see to the price of goods and items that are skyrocketed. Let's have a kind of reduction in prices. Let's have a kind of reduction in the price of PMS. Let's have a reduction in the price of commodities. Then by then, that will be able to cut across. And lastly, on the issue of the defection, well, I have to blame Atiku for the defection. Because as we speak, I'm not a party person, I'm not a politician. As we speak, Atiku traded his presidential ambition. He traded it in 2023 by retaining EU as the PDP chairman as at then. Because the G5 governors went to him and they said they should drop Atiku. Atiku insisted that he's going to prioritize the interests of IU. And now you can see what we are having today. Wike, who happens to be the ringleader, then we can see where Wike is now. You can see who Wike is dining with now. And then Wike was being questioned then because at initial stage, instead of Ofoa being the CP of Atiku, it was Wike that ought to be in the shoes then. So you can see the Atiku has caused what is happening to him. He caused it by himself. By just with the PDP will wake up from their slumber and be a formidable opposition on 2027 election. Thank you very much. God bless you and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Mr.
I
Mario.
would like
Happy
to respond to the
Wednesday.
last part of Mr. Mario's opinion. But
About
before
the
that,
defections?
yes, but before that, let's talk about Maiduguri first. The truth of the matter is that a lot of things have been happening in the Northeast. I can tell you that on a daily basis, at least 20 people are losing their lives in that trial state. ISWAP has been killing people like their houseflies in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe, such that they have actually declared some local governments in Yobe, Adamawa, and Borno, especially Adamawa and Yobe, as no-go area. You don't go there if you don't want to die. And they have been killing security operatives too, like they are houseflies. Now let's talk about this case. I don't know if you've been to Hamoro before. It's always air conditioned. You can barely stay there if you are not well kitted. That's how they are. You're talking about excessive heat. This thing did not go off 1 p.m. At 1 p.m. It did not go off at 2 p.m. 10:30 when it's usually cool. Everybody knows that it's cool. It's cooler than the early hours, than the late hours. That's nonsense. Let's face the problem ahead. What ISWAP is trying to do here is that they're trying to castrate the Nigerian state. Should there be something? Oh, bring in the soldiers. Now they have gone to where the soldiers are keeping
And
their
this is
hammer.
not the first time.
This is not the first time. They have been in fact, the Maiduguri barrack, the Giwa barrack is the one that is actually the biggest. It's almost a daily thing. They have been ransacking police stations and smaller military barracks in the last couple of, let's say, 2-3 months. They have been doing it systematically, and this is the biggest barrack in Borno State, and now it is down and out. I don't want to talk about the consequences, but instead of lying to ourselves, we need to come face to face with the reality and face what is happening. There is crisis. There is very serious crisis. And I can tell you that the last time we had something of this magnitude was under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. Under Buhari, it was not this bad. Buhari tried to tackle them such that, as of the time Buhari was leaving, Buhari had cleared Nigeria of Boko Haram and ISWAP. But now they are regrouping in virtually all the states across the north. Let's now go back to the defection and Atiku and
Now,
Wike.
for our listeners who have no idea, because we've actually not brought it up, let's quickly bring it up.
Oh, please.
Now, there's this headline on the Punch newspaper that says NPSA warns against rising defections, one-party state. Basically, this group pointed out that there have been so many defections, and it's a pointer that Nigeria may be looking at a one-party state, which is undemocratic.
I do not support a one-party state. This is democracy, and without plural parties, democracy is nothing. Now, let's go to the details. 2018, till this very present day, the Southwest has not produced a PDP chairman before. Till this very present day. And 2018, the party in its wisdom said, okay, let's have a PDP chairman of Southwest extraction. Then Olabode George was contesting, Rashid Ladoja of Oyo State was contesting, Tawhid Adedeja was contesting, Tunde Adeniro was also contesting. Nyesom Wike said no, that he is taking it to his kinsman, somebody he can trust. And against all odds, despite the fact that money politics is not something that should be encouraged, they were throwing serious money around in Abuja, and they installed secondaries against the interests of the Southwest. Please keep that. Fast forward to 2022, in the build-up to 2023 elections, Wike now realized, albeit suddenly, that secondaries was an extra weight on his own body, and he wanted to dump secondaries. According to the constitution of the party, if a party executive is leaving, maybe owing to resignation or death or whatever, you will have to bring in another person from the person's geopolitical zone to replace him. But because Wike knew he wanted to contest, I didn't want to have that weight of, president from the South, and also not just from South, Rivers State, and chairman of the party from Rivers State. He threw the chairmanship to the north. It did not even stop in the Southwest, did not stop in the Southeast. It threw it to the north so that he would have a field day to contest. And who would you give free food and say no? The guys in the north said, okay, fine, let's have it. Now you went to the primary and you were badly beaten. You now started to say, oh, no, you can't have the president. What exactly was the situation before you threw in fact, it's the South that should be screaming that Wike put them in this bad state. The party said then that, okay, the Southeast has not produced the president since 1999. Let's zone this thing to the Southeast. Just like there is zoning and there is micro zoning. Micro zoning is when you see this to a particular
region and then zoom in on
a particular geopolitical zone. They micro zoned the chairmanship to the Southwest then. Wike said no. The party was supposed to microzone the presidency to the Southeast. It was still the same Wike who said no, that rather they should zone it to the South. And Atiku was saying that Obasanjo 8 years, Goodluck Jonathan 5 years. I mean, that's unfair. If you are taking it to the Southeast, in fact, I will not contest. Wike said no, throw it open. They threw it open, they floored him, and he now started screaming. Who exactly is the enemy of the South here between Wike and Atiku? No, let's not dwell on what they are telling us. Let's dwell on what the facts say. The facts tell me as of today that the enemy of the South is Nyesom Ezenwo Wike and his G5 gang. That's all.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sani. Before we wrap up the show this morning, on the Punch newspaper, it says that The CBEX, that's the Crypto Bridge Exchange trading platform, they say that they have resumed operations, announcing fresh withdrawal options in a move to restore investor confidence. If you're listening, if you're out there, it's your money. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But please, this is not a very good time to lose money.
No, the truth of the matter is that after seeing what happened 2 weeks ago, I do not have any word of advice for a foolish person.
So please don't put your money where you will regret it, because the modus operandi of things like this is they ask you to put in more money to be able to withdraw the money you already have.
People who had $1,000 then, they said, bring in new $100 for you to have access to $1,000.
Well.
People who had more than $1,000 were told to bring $200, and guess what? Nigerians still paid.
It is well. And to the elite, just like our first caller, Mr. Salami, made the appeal, I will also say this. These are the words of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who said that the children of the poor that you failed to train will never let your children have peace. So in as much as our elite think about themselves, always think about the masses, because the masses are the true Nigerians. Thank you so much for joining us on Perspectives Unlimited this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Sani.
It is also an honor to be here.
My name is Bolanle Oduekun Ayola. The sports crew is here already, ready to give you the latest, the freshest, and the best stories in the world of sports. Don't go anywhere. Please stay with us.